Hey everybody, it's Aluna Michaels, Esoteric Astrologer. It is late in December. I wasn't going to do a video this month because I was sick and coughing at the beginning of the month and the cough wouldn't go away, and then I had to go to Boston to see my mom, and it was a long trip. And then when I was away, people were like, "Where's the video?" And I'm like, "I thought everyone would forget about it because it was the holidays." So people said, "No, please do one even if it's late." So I'm back home and can do it. I have Christmas presents all over the floor, a little chaotic, but hey, here we are. So this will be kind of quick because we're already sort of into so much of the month. But last month just needed to talk about Pluto and Aquarius. I mean, these Pluto changing signs is a big deal, and it is bringing up world stuff, and just to kind of update on that. Hopefully, you don't. I don't know. Sometimes I'm worrying people aren't want to hearing world things or political things, but it's interesting what we've had since Pluto went into Aquarius, with people taking power back or feeling like no to a Pluto and Capricorn thing about, I mean, there's always power issues in the world, right? But, what happened in South Korea with the president saying, I want martial law, and the people like, no, we don't want that. We will stop you. In Romania, the people overrode, there was like interference from Russian interference in an election. They went, nope, we're going to redo it. And then the Syrian stuff, the stuff in Syria was interesting. I heard somebody saying, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, said, they've been trying to do this for 10 years and they do it in 11 days. How'd that happen? I was thinking, right after Pluto went in Aquarius, there's an overthrow of a dictator. We still don't know the outcome of if these people are going to be good people, because these are rebels taking over and it's chaotic and all that. But it was interesting about people trying to work so hard during Pluto and Capricorn to overturn a government they were unhappy with. And then Pluto goes into Aquarius, and then within 2 weeks, they overthrow the guy. So I thought, that's interesting. It's terrible, but the guy who shot the United Health guy, it's kind of Pluto and Aquarius in a scary way about, people don't want this anymore and doing extreme things. Hopefully there's not a lot of violence with this pushing into Pluto and Aquarius, but people fighting back, with what happened this weekend with the almost government shutdown, with Republicans turning against the type of the Republicans who seem to be wanting more law and order as opposed to bullying, which is the leftover Pluto and Capricorn. It's like, no, we want to have fairness. We want more fairness. So the pushback with Republicans from what Elon Musk tried to do and all that, but it's just like, okay, there's a lot of chaos going on, right? But what seems to be coming up is people want to have fairness, or more fairness, and the individual people's voice being more important. And of course, this is a 20-year period of Pluto going into Aquarius. The other thing here, so I was going to say with that it's going to take a while to have this shift of hopefully more people personally involved with government things, with pushing back, with being more aware, with feeling their voice is mattering more, and hopefully some more positive changes, toward fairness, toward regular people, which is Aquarius, as opposed to the Pluto and Capricorn, like the big money people get all the breaks and all that. So the one thing, Mars has gone retrograde at the beginning of December, and it's retrograding. The most important thing right now is it's retrograding back to oppose Pluto, which will be on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. But as it's approaching, it's tense. I mean, Mars is like Pluto's little brother, and Pluto's Mars' big brother. And when they're opposing, it's definitely tension. So I had thought, maybe there might be winter storms or this and that. And it's obviously been a lot of chaos in general going on this month. But, in terms of having the holidays, families can be triggering, of course. So being aware of tempers being kind of high. Also, Pluto's like old anger, so it can bring up old stuff, and you're feeling and someone can bring to you, and you're like, that's still a thing within your consciousness, I guess so. So there's a lot of dredging up kind of stuff. And I was talking to a friend too who's just having a hard time with like old feelings of self hate coming up and thinking, ah, I felt I'd made progress on this, but it's kind of coming up again. And so these sort of things about your own personal feelings of powerlessness, things you fight within yourself about, which is within yourself as opposed to within your family or whatever. Just being aware that that's coming up, you know, and I think when we're talking about these world events about Pluto and Aquarius in general, is that like you can fight back within yourself, even if these problems or habits or addictions or whatever seem so entrenched, like they'll never change. It's just why why bother fighting this? It's just always going to be this way, you know? And just, you know, with the Syria situation, that idea of we've had this government 50 years and then we've been really fighting back for 10 years. And then all of a sudden in 11 days, it happened, you know? So it's this kind of idea within yourself. Well, Pluto's in Aquarius and while Mars is especially opposing it right now, these next few weeks, that you can overcome something in you that another party is like, you'll never overcome this, you stink, you'll always be this way, your life will always suck in this area, whatever. And you can still have that pushing back and no, I am going to overcome this. And it could just crumble, like that negative voice could just start to crumble and you can get a foothold on more positive habits or affirmations or actions, you know, that are more healing for you. And I know it's cheesy to be like, oh, New Year's resolutions and stuff, but instead of even thinking of it as New Year's resolutions, it's this powerful time in history that happens to be coinciding with the new year to overcome things in you that have been bullying you and say, nope, I'm going to keep pushing or I'm going to keep enduring and of course making sure what you're doing is somehow helpful, you know, and you still feel passionate about it, even if you feel kind of hopeless, there's still a sense this is the right way to attack this, or this is, you know, I should quit drinking. I shouldn't just drink all the time, or I should, you know, look for my options about getting out of an abusive work situation instead of being like, oh, why even try? Like there's some like drive under it, even if you felt hopeless. So it's not like banging your head against a wall, but a sense that like keep putting pressure and eventually that obstacle falls down, you know? So, and that can be a weird thing to discern within yourself when the planets are so tense right now. Like, am I just banging my head against a wall that will never move? Or am I pushing it and needs just one more push, or one more push, or one more push? Boom, you know, and then you gain traction over that addictive thing or negative thing in yourself, you know, that seems to be ruling you. So that's a lot about this Pluto ingress, we call it, when Pluto changes signs, and having Mars opposing like that. Mercury's already direct, you know, everybody worries about Mercury direct, and then it hasn't caught up with itself, but that's okay. It's quickly doing that. And I think we've got bigger fish to fry than just that Mercury retrograde, but Mercury will pass its station, the point at which it did retrograde on January 2nd. So we're almost there, and then that puts fresh energy into Mercury and our thinking and all of that. And also Neptune just went direct too at the beginning of December, so like 2 weeks ago. Neptune going direct is weird. It can make people feel confused. So we had like Mercury retrograde and Neptune changing direction, even if it's going forward. Neptune can be about lack of clarity, and Mercury retrograde can be lack of clarity. So that it was just a lot was happening. But every day it gets better in terms of clarity, but we're getting through that Mars-Pluto opposition is the thing. And just getting through it, but believing in yourself and maybe kind of meditating and seeing like, are these goals still important? And do I feel this is still a good way forward, even if it doesn't seem to be yielding something yet? Or is there another thing I could add? Do I need to take a break from it and then regain this persistence? You know, not like giving up, but a little R&R or something kind of thing. and asking for support, that people know you're working on something within yourself, and maybe they are too, because so much is coming up for people, and kind of have not quite accountability, but just knowing, like, holding each other in light energy, that you're each pushing through something, and each of you could say, oh, I can see you getting through that, I could see you getting through that. So it helps to have somebody know what demons you're fighting against inside yourself. I just put demons because you know Pluto is that dark stuff within us, um, but ready to break through. There's a ready to break throughness. So I will leave it here and come back in early January to say probably some similar things, but we'll be on the other side of that Mars was Pluto. Um, and yeah, I just think that I may say some more things about political stuff. I hope that doesn't bother people, just because it's just so much right now in the States, at least, and of course, other places in the world. But to know that the voice of people is mattering, and that we shouldn't give up believing in what's fair and just and right. And although people can vary upon what that is, there's still something about just things, and as opposed to the bullying kind of energy that we're coming out of with Pluto and Capricorn. And again, nothing wrong with Capricorns. It's when Pluto is in a sign for a really long time, it brings up the worst of that sign. And then when Pluto shifts signs, it's like, fresh energy, the best of that new sign. So any sign, in 20 years, I'll tell you how stinky Pluto in Aquarius is, I suppose. And we're sick of that. And we need Pluto in Pisces. But right now, Pluto in Aquarius has a lot to offer us, and all of that personally, collectively, and all that kind of stuff. So, and just looking for positive things. One thing, I follow someone, Jessica Craven. She has a blog kind of thing on Substack called Chop Wood, Carry Water. And once a week, she puts out a list called Extra Extra. And it's all these really positive things that have happened that may not get any news traction. There's also the big picture that is written by a collective of people, and they do once a week something called Our Wins of the Week. And it's just, positive things. Some of it is about big corporations giving back land to Native American tribes or nations. Some are like, there was one about Montana state legislature that 16 young people were, I don't think their voting age, maybe, were pressing the local, the state legislature about climate change laws, saying that, hey, our lives, we're young, we need this. And Montana passing stuff like that. When you think, Montana is just not listening to people, whatever ideas about Montana. And they've actually been doing a lot of progressive things, which is kind of interesting, positive things for the planet and minority people, even trans rights. It's just like, oh, I wouldn't have known that if I read that stuff. So I like reading those things, keeping myself saying, how are people making a difference? How are small things happening? Changes in ecology. I read something about in Scotland, there's been a huge increase in the amount of honeybees that people have been working to increase honeybees in Scotland. Just kind of good stuff like that is helping me, at least. So maybe, keeping your mood up and seeing where people are making a difference and gaining more confidence about and that, again, we don't see maybe a lot about people breaking through their own personal things, but knowing that we can. And if we're sharing with each other about stuff that we're overcoming bit by bit and helping one another, it could be kind of like that, opening up with your friends about what you are working on, even though it isn't completed, that you've made strides, and sharing with one another can be helpful, again, with this Pluto change. So, okay, everybody, I still get gift certificates for holidays since last minute. It's like, the 21st today or something. But anyways, if you want readings, 248-583-1663. Best not to send a message on YouTube. I don't get notifications about that much. But okay, well, happy holidays and stuff, and I'll see you in January. Okay, bye for now.